Downsizing your home, it can be both overwhelming and exciting, and it comes with a big change. So how do you know when the timing is right? Well, real estate broker Erica Reddy is back with her tips for navigating it all. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Kelsey. So happy to be here.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people, they think of downsizing as something that happens to empty nesters, but I mean, this can happen at every stage of life.
Totally. So I think we can all agree when you think downsizing, you do think empty nester, this is it, time to go. Where I think people don't necessarily understand or see how downsizing happens is actually there's a lot of people that downsize for financial reasons. There's a lot of people that downsize, moving from a more rural area into, say, a city center. And those also seeking a more urban lifestyle that want to be closer to kind of that walkability and, ditch the car and just really enjoy that of a city.
Well, I know it's a conversation in my group of friends where we say, listen, it's a lot of house to clean. We have full-time jobs. I don't want to do all of this. Maybe a smaller house is a better fit.
Totally. So, I joke with a girlfriend of mine. I literally call her, I'm like, how is your palatial estate? Because I feel like she's always like lawn and snow and hedges and pool, and these things add up. And so at the end of the day, when you're trying to figure out what makes sense for you financially, what makes sense from a lifestyle standpoint, sometimes you don't need to have all that house. Or you might sit there and go, has anyone used the other 3 or 4 bedrooms? And I don't even know how long. So these are all things that you might start to think about. If you're having these conversations, if you're mulling this over, downsizing might be something you want to start thinking about.
Okay, so let's talk about timing a move like this. What should people consider if downsizing is kind of the next step for them?
Absolutely. So the thing with downsizing is it takes a lot of time. So you want to be ready. You want to be thinking about this. You want to be, figuring out, is this right for you? So if you're sitting there and going, you know what, my finances are really starting to feel a little bit tight and maintaining this house really doesn't make sense. Okay, that might be a cue to start thinking about what downsizing looks like. If you're feeling like, okay, you know what? I want to start thinking about my next step before health is a concern and aging in place is something that I can think about proactively. That might be a great time to start doing it. And you want to get ahead of it because I'm sure, as you can kind of hear in this, it's not an easy step. It's not a quick process. And there's a lot that goes into the backside of making sure that you're ready to actually do the downsize.
Gosh, even decluttering.
That is, think about it. If you've got 5 bedrooms going to 2, you've got 3 extra entire bed sets that you need to get rid of, or you might have family heirlooms and you want to make sure that you're, connecting with the people that you need to connect with to make sure that all of those things are, given to the right people and handed off within the family.
So, well, you're at the point, you've considered all of these and you've still decided that downsizing is the right step for you. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people making?
I think the biggest mistake, to be honest with you, is people don't give themselves enough time. They don't think about the plan, they don't think about the process, and they don't get ahead of it or on top of it before they actually need to do it. So when you don't have that plan in place, when you haven't thought about all the moving steps, all the process, everything that goes into it, if you rush, it becomes a really overwhelming process.
Not taking inventory of items, one of the other points that we have on the list there. I mean, like you said, knowing what you have and who it needs to get to is a big step for everybody.
Exactly.
Erica, you've worked with people who've obviously done this, whether they've been downsizing because they're empty nesters or because of the financial considerations. But I imagine that psychologically, there's a big impact that people are facing. So what do your clients say? What do people talk about the feeling associated with this?
Absolutely. So I would say probably the biggest feeling that, that people kind of come to me with is this feeling of fear, this feeling of kind of overwhelm and where to begin. Because it is one of those things that, you're looking at a pretty daunting life change. And in some cases, when you're, changing up a financial landscape, that's really actually a great outcome, but it's scary. And how do you do it? And how do you go about it? And are you going to be okay without all of these things that you've, grown to use and love? And so I think working through the fear and working through the, how do we tackle this and how do we begin is so important.
Well, I think even on top of that, not only the fear of knowing where to start, but the fear of letting people down.
Absolutely.
Of saying, I bit off more than I can chew, which I think in today's financial landscape with what interest rates, what they are, with the cost of housing, what it is, I think that is a reality more people are facing than they ever thought they would.
100%. And I think sometimes there can be that fear, back to that fear comment of like, okay, I'm a little over my head. Like, I don't really want to be carrying all of these costs. And that can be, to come to that realization and have that conversation, that can be a huge stepping point. But the other side of it is ending up in a much better place ahead of, a situation where it becomes rushed or, at a time where it's forced or has to be done.
Yeah, it's a decision with a lot of hope at the end.
100%.
Sure. Erica, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure, Kelsey.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.